Hello. All right, so this video is just a continuation of 1-7 that we worked on today in class. But this time our problems when we're worried about combining like terms in simplifying expressions are going to involve the distributive property. The distributive property is another one of those properties like the associative, the commutative property, in that there is going to be either a constant or a variable or a combination of those things outside of parentheses, which means you're multiplying. For example, the first problem that we have on the screen, 9 times a plus b. I'm multiplying a 9 times a quantity a plus b. That number on the outside has to get multiplied not only by what is right next to the a, but it also has to get multiplied to the b. Why? Because this expression involves parentheses. It's not 9a plus b. That's not what the problem says. Okay, the a plus b are in parentheses, which means the 9 gets multiplied by the whole thing. So I use the distributive property. So I'm going to take my 9 and I'm going to make a little rainbow here. 9 times a is 9a. 9 times b, a positive b, is 9b. So now I ask myself, can I combine those two things? Are they like terms? No, they're not like terms, so I have to leave my answer as 9a plus 9b cannot be simplified anymore. The next problem, the 2's on the outside. The 2 is going to get multiplied or distributed 2 times into what is inside my parentheses. 2 times 15 gives me 30. 2 times negative q is negative 2q, or minus 2q. Okay? Next problem, I'm now distributing the negative a. The negative a is on the outside of my parentheses, so it gets distributed, which means multiply, times the b and the negative 8, the minus 8. So negative 8 times b simply gives me negative ab. Just write them right next to each other, just like that. Negative 8 times negative 8. And negative times a negative we know to be a positive. A times 8 is a times 8. But this is something we're going to learn. We don't ever put a variable in front of a constant. We actually do the opposite. We put the constant first, the coefficient, we call it, in front of our variable. So I have plus 8a. Are those like terms? No, they are not, because this has an a and a b. This just has an a. So in order to combine them, my 8a would have to be an 8ab. But it's not, so I leave it alone. Let's look at these. Now I'm going to distribute the x. X times x. X times x is not 2x. X plus x is 2x. X times x is x squared, right? All right. X times now 5 gives me plus 5x. Are those like terms? No, they are not. One's an x squared, one's an x. They're the same variable, but they don't have the same exponent. If you're unsure about that, look back at your notes on what like terms are. Those are not like terms, so they stay like that. Now I have a 7 being distributed not once, not twice, but now 3 times. You distribute it to everything inside your parentheses. So I get 7p plus 7q plus 7 times 4, which is 28. Are any of those like terms? No, but if they were, we would combine them. So always ask yourself, can these be combined? Okay, let's get to simplifying. I'm going to take my 4 that's on the outside of parentheses being multiplied, multiply by everything inside the parentheses. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times x is 4x. Now, does the 4 get distributed to this 14x? No, it does not. Why not? Because it is not part of the parentheses. So my plus 14x is right there. Now I ask myself, are there any like terms? In fact, there are. 4x and 14x makes 18x. So I have 8 plus 18x. Or another way of writing this is 18x plus 8. That is the commutative property. It doesn't matter which way you write it. They're the same thing. Next example, I'm going to distribute my negative 3. I get negative 6. Now negative 3 times a negative a. There's an invisible 1 right in front of that a. If it's not written there, it's a 1. A negative times a negative gives me a positive. 3 times 1 is 3, so I get positive 3a. Now, no more distributing because I'm done with my parentheses. Now I want to ask myself, what are the like terms that can be combined? 3a plus 7a is 4a. Negative 6 and my negative 10 are like terms. What do I get when I combine those things? Minus 16. Or keep in mind, that's going to be the same thing as writing it this way. Either one. Okay, here. What am I distributing? I just see this random negative sign on the outside. If there is no number, there's just a negative sign that's telling you something's there, but what is it? It's a negative 1. Okay, in algebra, if it's a 1, we just don't write it. If it's a negative 1, you can either write negative 1 or you could just write the negative sign, and we know in our minds to interpret that as a negative 1. So I'm going to distribute a negative 1 into what's inside my parentheses. Negative 1 times f is negative 1f. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, so minus 3. I'm done distributing because I'm done with my parentheses. I'm not done with the problem, though, with simplifying this expression because I have like terms that can be combined. Negative 1f plus 14f is 13f, and negative 3 minus 7 is negative 10. Keep in mind there's another way of writing that using the commutative. Okay, let's look at, I believe this is our last example. Here I have 2 sets of parentheses, so I'm going to be distributing 2 different times in my problem. The first time, I'm distributing a negative 6x times a negative 2x. Negative 6 times negative 2 is positive 12. What's x times x? X squared. Now I need to distribute negative 6x to the term negative 5y. What's a negative 6 times a negative 5? That's a positive 30. What's x times y? xy, or yx, same thing. Now, I'm ready to distribute again. I have my other set of parentheses here. This time I'm going to distribute a 6 to the 4x and a 6 to the negative 5y. 6 times 4x gives me plus 24x, and 6 times negative 5y is negative 30y. Now I'm going to look for like terms and get to combining. Is there any other x squareds in my problem? No. So that gets written by itself alone. Now I'm going to look for any other terms that have an x and a y. I see an x in this one, that's not enough. I see a y in that one, that's great, but it's not an xy. So my 30xy gets written next. Can I combine the 24x with anything? Is there anything else that has just an x? Nope. So that gets written alone. And there's nothing else that has just a y. So this is a really long answer, but nothing is like terms here, so I can't do any more combining, so I am finished. All right, I'm going to leave you guys with this one. Write a simplified expression for the perimeter of this figure. I want you to think, how do we come up with perimeter? We add up all the sides, that's right. So I want you guys to add up all the sides of this triangle, press pause, show your work, and then press play when you're ready to check your answer. You should have gotten 10x plus 2. That is where I will leave you guys. See you tomorrow.